When I was in high school, I thought I was pretty hot shit. In the fall, I was a running back who prided myself on my speed, outrunning coverages for long breakaway runs. And in the spring, I was a short sprinter who went on to win state in the 100 meter. This earned me multiple Division I track scholarships. I was a big fish in a small pond, a small enough pond to convince me that I was something. But then I stumbled upon the ESPN top recruits, and the #1 player in the country my senior year was Leonard Fournette. After I found out that he also ran track, I decided to look up his times to see how fast that he was. That's when I found out that we ran the exact same 100 meter time, which I thought was pretty cool. But then I went back and looked at how much he weighed. This dude had me by over 60 pounds. It just blew my mind. A dude that big and that fast? I had a feeling that he was gonna terrorize college football. And man, did he.
Right side, there's that gaping hole again. Could it be? Will he strike for the trifecta? He does! 78 more yards for Leonard Fournette. Hold on to your Heisman Trophy ballots.
In 2016, I had become inspired to start a football-related YouTube channel, and Leonard Fournette's dominant first 2 years at LSU led to my first video idea. Why Leonard Fournette will be the next great NFL running back, I proclaimed, and I published this video on October 2nd, 2016, and thus KTO was born. So here we are, 5 years later. How did my original prediction turn out? What has happened so far during Fournette's NFL career? Now, before we dive in, I gotta give a shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring this video. With football season well underway, it's a great time to go watch your favorite teams. I actually already did, going to see the Browns and Chiefs in week 1. What SeatGeek does is take tickets from all across the web and put them into one area, making buying simple. They take the tickets on a scale from 0 to 100 to let you know that you're getting a good deal. Plus, you can score $20 off with my promo code KTO if you're a first-time user. Click the link below to download the app. So at the time I published my very first KTO video, Leonard Fournette was in the midst of his junior season at LSU. By then, his on-field reputation was well known for his brutal power combined with his breakaway speed, a combination that bullied most teams and drew comparisons to Adrian Peterson, who's perhaps the best power back of the 21st century. It was easy to fall in love with Leonard Fournette as a prospect. Even if you were a casual fan, you could see the things that he did were out of this world. Although his junior year did end in underwhelming fashion due to injuries, his upside still got him drafted 4th overall to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Fournette's rookie season had moments of brilliance. He rushed for over 1,000 yards and 10 total touchdowns, which included setting the highest miles per hour of any player in the NFL. Fournette finished the year by putting together an impressive playoff performance versus the Steelers. And after Jacksonville made it to the AFC Championship with the help of Fournette, most felt that he was going to continue to improve from this point. But then 2018 happened. Fournette's 2018 performance was forgettable. He missed half the season due to injury, and when he played, he wasn't good. A woeful 3.3 yards per carry had led people to believe that this dude had not been anywhere near the hype that he received. There were also a host of issues behind the scenes that had affected him. Here's an article from the Bucs Sports Nation page to give you a summary. Quote, "The concerns go all the way back to his rookie year, where he was declared inactive for 1 week for missing a team photo, as well as a workout/treatment appointment for an ankle injury that kept him out of the game earlier in the season. He was suspended for punching a player, arrested for traffic violations, and out of shape the following year. He even told a fan that, quote, 'I will beat your ass' after a game." Now, despite all these concerns, things did trend upwards in 2019. Statistically, Fournette had the best season of his career to that point, improving in his yards per carry, as well as managing to become an option in the receiving game, something he had not done well the previous 2 seasons. But Jacksonville had begun to re-enter the rebuild, and they did not see Fournette as a player to build around, so they waived him.
Leonard Fournette on Twitter, the hashtag #GoBucks, giving everyone a first look at him in his new uniform. On any other day, this would have been our first story because this feels like an enormous acquisition for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
When Leonard Fournette signed with the Bucs, it showed how many people still believed in this dude. I mean, after all, he was only 25 at the time. Despite everything that had happened in Jacksonville, now it felt like this was his moment. In just his second game, he rushed for 2 touchdowns and over 100 yards on only 12 carries. This felt like a sign of things to come. And then when the playoffs came around, Fournette scored in all 4 postseason games, becoming known as Playoff Lenny for his big-time performances.
Fournette! Touchdown! Tampa Bay!
It's pretty amazing how much things can change in just 6 months. Fournette had gone from being waived by one team to a key contributor for the Super Bowl champions. This is yet another perfect example of how much football is a team sport, and individual success will always be limited based on what that team can accomplish. But to look at Fournette individually, with 4 full NFL seasons under his belt, how accurate was my original video? Well, let's pull up the stats. His rookie season doesn't look too bad at a first glance, but when you compare his yards per carry to the other backs who went over 1,000 yards, Fournette was at the bottom of the list. Also, it's pretty mind-blowing how only 1 or 2 of these guys is even relevant now. Then 2018 was just bad. Not too many positives to take from this. 2019 was a different story, but again, Fournette ranked among the lowest when it came to yards per carry. But he bounced back in 2020, right? Well, honestly, looking at just the regular season, it was pretty lackluster. He received the carries of a backup and managed just less than 4 yards per carry, much lower than fellow Bucs running back Ronald Jones. Of course, you can't dismiss the 2020 playoffs, where Fournette had almost as many yards in 4 games as he did in the previous 13. What exactly is going on here? Let's dive deeper into what had been going wrong. In Samuel Gold's Film Room episode on Fournette back in 2019, he goes over why he was underperforming. Here were some of the notable points that I took away. Fournette's ability to create yards on his own is abysmal, and his broken tackles per attempt had been below average each of his seasons. He also displayed bad running back vision at times, whether he was hesitant or just missed the hole entirely. And then lastly, there was a noticeable gap between the north and south violent runner that he was in college compared to what he had become in the NFL, which was a hesitant, trying to shake and bake type of back, which just is not his forte. Now, that last note is interesting, because I had thought the same thing when I started to watch Fournette in the NFL. All I could think was, where is that beast from LSU? The ruthless power, the dominating runs. It seemed like he was a completely different player when he got to the league. But this is what is so bizarre, because Fournette, when he got to the playoffs, looked like how he did at LSU.
On first down, Fournette stutter steps and now is able to bounce. What a move, a spin, and touchdown!
So does this make my original video correct? I have to admit, despite Fournette stepping up in big games, I would have to say that my original video was wrong and did not age well. If I had to put his career into 3 words, it would be underwhelming, yet clutch. His playoff performances of 2017 and 2020 were indicative of what this dude is capable of, which, from a casual perspective, feels like he gets more into big games, so he plays up to his potential. But when it's the grind of the regular season and it doesn't matter as much, he just doesn't exert the same level of tenacity. I'm not sure if that's true or not, that's just a casual outsider opinion, but if it is, that means he's not exactly a reliable guy. Sure, he's there when you absolutely need him, but that's assuming that you get there without him in the first place, which defeats the whole idea of what he was supposed to be as an NFL running back. At this point, he's not going to live up to that Adrian Peterson comparison, but he can certainly still find a prominent role moving forward. He will most likely split carries and, at best, he will be an average starter with above average upside. It sort of reminds me of what happened to Reggie Bush, an overhyped prospect who was written off as a bust for not dominating early, but he managed to still play well at times and carve out a decent career after the initial hype. So in conclusion, yes, Fournette did not live up to the hype, but I don't think that should take away from what he has done in the past. His 3 years at LSU produced one of the most insane highlight reels you'll ever see. I mean, come on, does it get any better than this?
Play action, great block by Geis. Off to Fournette. Oh my. Oh, a crushing run. Fournette delivers a blow.
Not too much, but showing the young club how it's done.
A baptism. Fournette into the secondary. Run!